Good morning, AJ. It's Friday, January 9th. Actually, through the power of movie magic, tonight is Thursday. It turns out that mom and dad are leaving early tomorrow to go to Hawaii for a little more than a week. And they're taking my camera with them, forcing me to vlog on Thursday night instead of Friday morning. But don't worry, you'll still see my videos next week because I have a plan. If you're wondering about my sweet getup, today was actually my friend's 21st birthday. So we walked around Seattle in business suits, and we played DDR in business suits. Much fun was had. Now you know that I'm a firm believer in the adage about Western Washingtonians never using umbrellas, but I'll be honest, there are times when I do. Now every weekday morning at 7 o'clock, I walk an hour and a half in the rain and the mud, before the sun even rises. I don't ask for much, but I'd like to keep my misery, just to a minimum. Hence, umbrellas can be useful sometimes. Now, I don't know if you saw, but we were on the front page of MSN a couple days ago, and I think that if Seattle gets published on the front page of any kind of national publication because of rain, then it must be pretty bad. And Spokane got 6 feet of snow in 2 weeks. I hate the weather. AJ, just be glad that your camera can be recharged. About 2 minutes ago, I had to change the batteries in mine. Yeah, I changed the batteries. It feels like the Stone Age. This is definitely not 2 weeks into the future. Now it occurs to me that reading small is kind of a contradictory term, because, and from my understanding, small and deep are not synonyms. So when you say that reading small means reading deep, it doesn't sound small to me. It actually sounds kind of hefty. That's a hefty amount of work. Now part of the reason that I'm not an English major is because I hate reading deep into things. I can read other people their work about reading deep into things, but I can't do it myself. It's not fun. I like reading about symbolism, but I don't like overanalyzing into it. If I ever ask myself, why I chose a math or science profession, I just have to remember thinking critically, and I know the answer. I'm just not a big humanities or social sciences person. I like math. Bore. That didn't make much sense at all. We really are on Google! I suppose it's not that big of a deal when you show up on Google when you type in your own screen name, but it's still pretty awesome. I'm Google famous! Last night, a follower of ours, Roomies perhaps, suggested that we do something interesting in our videos. You know, something like a toothpick tower or a magic trick or something cool like that. I think you know what that means. AJ? Expect to be challenged sometime next week. I'm looking forward to your Washington Roomies book club report next week. Sometime next week after it's due, I'm probably going to do a book report on Genie by Russ Reimer. It's a pretty interesting book so far. I can't tell you what it's about, so you'll have to wait a little bit. I'm trying to keep the cutaways to a minimum tonight because, as you may have noticed from yesterday's video, which had a lot of cutaways, they started out really good, but then they got kind of sloppy near the end of them. And the reason for this is simple. Movie Maker eats memory and processor power. Physically swallows and digests it. So when I start the editing process, it starts out I'm so fast, and then by the end of it, every time I click play, it crashes, because it's used up all of my memory. So whereas at the very beginning, I'm really meticulous in my editing, by the end I just kind of throw it together because I don't want to deal with it anymore. Throw it together. I must tell you now, the world of 2 weeks into the future is a fascinating place. I won't tell you much, but Barack Obama is in fact the president. Now, I didn't just bring back one book, I brought back a spoiler as well. AJ, within 2 weeks, you will have done something punishable.